If you're on the road driving to work when it suddenly dawns on you, what if my electric vehicle runs out of juice and I'm stuck, waiting forever for the car to get charged? If you've had this thought, you've experienced what's called range anxiety. It's the fear that you won't be able to charge your EV on the road in an acceptable time frame. And actually, this is one of the many reasons why 32% of Americans say they'll never buy an electric vehicle. Today, we're looking at the solid-state battery. Some say this will be the holy grail of EV batteries. That's why Toyota is betting big on it. So, will this be the big game changer? And why isn't Tesla jumping on it? What's the controversy surrounding solid state? Hop in and let's get going. An electric car's most expensive and vital part is the battery. That's why this is one of the top things that automakers and tech companies are constantly working on to optimize. Right now, lithium-ion batteries are the mainstream in electric vehicles. But there's a newer technology that may or may not change the game, and that's the solid-state battery. So what is the difference? Both the lithium-ion battery and the solid-state battery are pretty similar when it comes to their overall structure. They both have an anode, a cathode, and an electrolyte. They both use lithium to produce electrical energy. The main difference between these two is the state of the electrolyte. The electrolyte is what regulates the flow of the electric current between the positive and negative sides of the battery. The lithium-ion battery uses liquid electrolytes. And if you don't already guess it from its name, the solid-state battery has thin layers of solid electrolytes. That's what helps transfer ions from the cathode to the anode when charging, and from the anode to the cathode when discharging and running the vehicle. Fans of the solid-state battery say this is the way of the future. Here's why. First off, a key issue with lithium-ion batteries is that in high temperatures they're flammable and can even explode. This is due to the flammable liquid inside the battery. But solid-state batteries don't have this liquid. This means they're more stable and don't have as high of a risk of catching on fire or exploding. Since these batteries are far less vulnerable to flames, they can work in a much broader temperature window. So even people living in tropical climates may have the chance to get their hands on an EV. And because of their higher density, these batteries can hold up to 50% more energy than the lithium-ion batteries do. So you can see they can really pack a punch. And supposedly you can reach an 80% charge in about 12 minutes. To top it all off, solid-state batteries are more compact and lighter than lithium-ion ones. That is because all that liquid inside lithium-ion batteries makes them heavy. Because of this weight difference, a smaller amount of batteries is needed for solid state. Did you know that solid-state batteries are not a recent phenomenon? Actually, they were first used back in the 1970s in pacemakers for heart patients. So it didn't start with cars. In pacemakers, a sheet of lithium metal is placed in direct contact with solid iodine. This causes a short circuit which forms a new layer of lithium iodide between them. After this layer is formed, a small and constant current can flow from the lithium anode to the iodine cathode. And this happens for several years. Today you can find even solid-state batteries in your smartwatch. But let's talk about Tesla. They're at the top of the EV game right now. So what's their stand on solid state? Well, believe it or not, Tesla, and by that I mean Elon Musk, hasn't been too vocal on this. What we do know is that many of Tesla's patents are around battery charging and charging infrastructure. It is possible that maybe Tesla's just waiting for the technology to mature. For now, Tesla's putting all their eggs in the new 4680 battery. It's supposed to be a quantum leap forward in lithium-ion technology. It can store 5 times the energy at half the cost of Tesla's current 2170 battery that's used in the Model 3 and Y. Note that I didn't say it's 5 times more energy dense. It just contains 5 times more, and the units are also much bigger than the current 2170 and the previous 1865. Tesla claims that the 4680 will enable a 100-fold increase in battery production by the year 2030. So it looks like Tesla isn't for or against solid state. Instead, they're betting on their own technology. If they're doing their own thing, it's safe to say they haven't yet been sold on solid state. Now, if you're wondering why a huge company like Tesla hasn't already jumped on the solid-state bandwagon, well, you're right to assume there's got to be some issues and controversies around this new solid-state technology. For example, one inherent flaw with the solid-state battery is its rate of degradation. Put simply, it degrades pretty quickly after a number of charge and discharge cycles. The reason is because the accumulation of lithium dendrites. Dendrites are thin, stick-like pieces of lithium that branch out and can even pierce the battery. This causes short circuits and other problems. When this happens, the lithium metal anode gets compromised. Right now, the only solution when this happens is to completely replace the battery unit. Researchers at Harvard believe they've come up with a better solution. They call the electrolyte sandwich, but not a sandwich you would eat. It's a multi-layer design that fills any cracks with dynamically generated decompositions. Lithium dendrites do still form, but this design controls and contains them. Think of it like a BLT sandwich. The top and bottom bread is like the lithium anode and cathode. The lettuce is the graphite. The tomato is the first electrolyte, and the bacon is the second electrolyte. Sandwiching the less stable electrolyte between the more stable solid electrolytes supposedly prevents any lithium dendrite growth. So the dendrites can build up and grow through the lettuce and tomato, but they stop at the bacon. So far, tests show that the multi-layer solid-state battery can hold 82% of its charge after 10,000 cycles. Another major problem with the solid-state battery is the mass production. Currently, car makers and technology companies are able to produce solid-state battery cells only one at a time in the lab. But the problem is, no one's been able to scale it up to mass production yet. Here's the thing. It's not easy to design a solid electrolyte that's stable, chemically inert, and still a good conductor of ions between the electrodes. Not to mention, they're expensive to make. Right now, a solid-state battery costs about 8 times more than making a lithium-ion one. That's a huge cost difference. And once you do make one, it's prone to cracking because of the brittleness of the electrolytes when they expand and contract during usage. It's not that car makers haven't planned to release solid-state battery cars before. They have. But it just seems that something else always seems to get in the way and causes the companies to cancel the projects. Take, for example, Fisker. They promised a supercar powered by a solid-state battery by 2020. 2020 came, and 2 years later, still nothing. Then they said it would be delayed until 2022, which is now. But now they've dropped the idea completely. Back in 2015, Dyson bought a solid-state battery company called SETI3. They spent literally billions of dollars developing their own EV. 2 years later, they dumped the project and wrote off the investment capital, then parted ways with SETI3. There's a Japanese battery and supercapacitor maker called Murata. Their technology addresses the common problem of sulfide escaping the battery pack, which is bad because it produces dangerously unhealthy gas when exposed to air. Murata's battery doesn't use sulfides in its chemistry. But here's the thing. Murata is focusing its battery technology for use in pacemakers and smartphones, which in itself is a good thing for sure. But they're not aiming for large batteries like the car industry would need. Overall, solid state as promised. But skeptics say there's still decades of research to go because the unsolved technical issues are preventing mass adoption. Believe it or not, solid state has been in the work for at least 40 years. There's been research done by Exxon dating all the way to 1978, believe it or not. Duracell in the early 1980s. There's been efforts by Toshiba, Sony, and others. That's a lot of known corporations. And these corporations have brainiac engineers. But many of these companies shelve their effort. Whatever the truth is, one thing is certain. Toyota is betting big on solid state. Did you know they have the most number of patents for solid state battery technology? They own over 1,000 patents. Actually, Toyota's been pursuing the next generation battery technologies for over a decade now. Last September, Toyota posted a 12-second video of a solid state battery car on their official YouTube channel. Toyota is betting solid state battery technology as the potential cure-all for the problems that challenge EVs running on lithium ion. But interestingly, Toyota's first solid-state battery cars won't be pure battery EV. It'll be a hybrid. Toyota hasn't specified which hybrid will get a solid-state battery, but they confirmed that everything is on schedule. The main reason they won't immediately offer solid-state EVs has to do with the size of the battery pack. Hybrid cars with combustion engines have much smaller battery packs than pure EVs. This makes them perfect for testing. The increased amount of charging cycles makes it easier to see how these batteries will react on a pure EV. And these cars are supposed to charge fast. We're talking about going 0 to 100% charge in 10 minutes with an impressive range of 310 miles. This means you could travel from Philly to Boston in one charge. But since solid-state batteries come at such a high cost, Toyota doesn't expect the cost to come down enough by 2025, which is their target release date. But Toyota is not the only car maker betting on this. Japanese company Nissan's also planning to release a solid-state EV by 2028. Even the Japanese government is getting behind solid-state battery technology. The Japanese government apparently funded Toyota and Nissan with 2 trillion yen, which is over 19 billion US dollars, just to support decarbonization technology initiatives, which includes the use of solid-state batteries. Talk about a lot of money. So it's not just Toyota, it's not just Nissan, but the entire country of Japan that's rooting on this horse. Interestingly, amidst all this, not many people talk about Panasonic. Check this out. Toyota is developing solid-state batteries through Prime Planet Energy and Solutions, which is a joint venture with Panasonic that started 2 years ago. Now, most people know that Panasonic is a Japanese company that makes consumer electronics plus batteries and industrial systems. But did you know that Panasonic is also working with Tesla to produce the 4680 batteries? It's like they get to play both sides of the field. It seems to be that Panasonic is in a really optimal position because they can hedge their bet. Am I the only one to notice this? It seems like everyone is so focused on the two polar sides of lithium versus solid state that there's little mention of Panasonic playing both sides. But now, you tell me, so will solid state ever be viable for cars? And if so, when? And would you ever drive a solid state battery car? Please share your opinion by commenting below. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for your support.